President Donald J. Trump just left Cairo after a closed-door meeting with most of the world's biggest players to decide the fate of Israel and Hamas and the Middle East more broadly. And here's the crazy thing. Israel wasn't there. Dozens of nations that openly hate the state of Israel, nations that represent most of the world's military power, just convened to discuss Israel's fate, and Israel wasn't in on the discussion. What on earth is going on? After his visit to Israel, Trump flew to Egypt for a summit that was intended to, according to Cairo, finalize an agreement to end the Gaza war and build support for the second phase of Trump's peace plan, which seeks to disarm Hamas and establish a new governing body in the Strip. All the major players in the region were there, including the leaders of Turkey, Qatar, Egypt, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, and all the non-important people who I'm sure were just happy to be there, like the President of France and the Prime Minister of the UK. Apparently, Netanyahu was also invited, but he declined the invitation since it was too close to the start of Simchat Torah. The president of Turkey said that he would boycott the event if Netanyahu came, and he even circled his plane over Cairo until he was told that Netanyahu would not be attending. After many meetings and negotiations, announcements were made about the future of Gaza. Looking at this photo of most of the world leaders on this stage, it really hit me. All of these people, presidents, prime ministers, kings, the leaders of the world, were all gathered together to discuss the future of a tiny piece of land 9 times smaller than Rhode Island. That is insane. And honestly, outside of biblical context, it makes no sense. God made a promise to Abraham 4,000 years ago that he would give the entire land of Israel to him and his descendants forever. This, folks, is a spiritual battle. Psalm 2 talks about this very thing. It says, "Why do the nations rage and the peoples plot in vain? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed." All of these rulers of the world are taking counsel together, without the leadership of Israel for that matter, to, in a way, conspire against the Lord and against his anointed. During his speech at the summit, Trump said this:
"But today, for the first time anyone can remember, we have a once-in-a-lifetime chance to put the old feuds and bitter hatreds behind us. And that's why so many people in this room, they didn't get along. Some did, some didn't, but they're getting along now. This has brought the people together. This is the first time the Middle East crisis has brought people together as opposed to driving them apart."
President Trump, Egyptian President Sisi, Turkish President Erdogan, and Qatari Emir Al Thani signed a document that Trump said would lay the groundwork for Gaza's future. After all the meetings, Egypt's foreign minister told the Associated Press that 15 Palestinian technocrats had been selected to administer post-war Gaza. Israel apparently approved of these people, but their names were not mentioned yet. He said this, quote, "We need to deploy them to take care of the daily life of the people of Gaza, and the Board of Peace should support and supervise the flow of finance and money which will come for the reconstruction of Gaza." He also said that this committee of 15 people had been approved by all the terrorist organizations in Gaza, including Hamas. Now, I have no idea who these 15 Palestinians are, and even if this plan will work. Hamas is still currently in power with no signs of disarming anytime soon, even though that is a major part of the deal. Trump made it very clear that Hamas must and will disarm, even stating that the US will disarm them themselves using violence if necessary.
But we have told them we want to disarm, and they will disarm. And if they don't disarm, we will disarm them. And it'll happen quickly and perhaps violently. But they will disarm. Do you understand me?
Yes, you say
because
quickly.
you always, everyone says, "Oh, well, they won't disarm." They will disarm. And I spoke to Hamas, and I said, "You're going to disarm, right?" "Yes, sir, we're going to disarm." That's what they told me. They will disarm, or we will disarm them. Got it?
I'm not entirely sure what that entails. Like, does this mean actual American fighter jets bombing the Gaza Strip, or does this even mean US troops on the ground to disarm Hamas? I guess only time will tell at this point. Netanyahu also said, quote, "We agreed to give peace a chance, but President Trump's conditions were clear. Hamas must disarm. It must relinquish its weapons in Gaza, or all hell will break loose." The term all hell will break loose has been overused so much by now, it's hard to tell what that will actually look like. Guys, in a second, we'll talk about how Hamas has already broken the deal. But first, whether you've been to Israel or are dreaming of making the trip one day, you will absolutely love I Am Israel, the Believer's Guide to the Rebirth of the Promised Land, showcasing over 550 stunning photographs, illustrated maps, and powerful stories. This gorgeous hardcover coffee table book will take you on a visual journey through the land of the Bible and unveil the inspiring story of Israel in a way that will make your spirit soar. Through this book, you'll explore the epic regions of Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, the coastlands, and the Galilee. Meet Jewish pioneers who are returning to their ancient homeland just as the Bible foretold. Discover stories of Christian heroes who played a pivotal role in the reestablishment of the nation of Israel. And learn about the feasts of the Lord from Passover to the Feast of Tabernacles, which we just finished, and see how they are celebrated in Israel. This vibrant, hardbound coffee table book is the perfect way to introduce anyone to the miracle of Israel, and for people with children or grandchildren, it can be used as a visual way to teach them the reality of the Bible. Order your copy today at theisraelguys.store or just click the link in the description below. As most of the world knows by now, all the living Israeli hostages were, thank God, returned to Israel on Monday. As part of the deal, Hamas was required to also release the remains of the 28 deceased hostages. Of course, because, in fact, they are a terrorist organization, Hamas broke the deal and only returned the bodies of 4 hostages yesterday. Trump noted this. He said, quote, "All 20 living hostages are back and feeling as good as can be expected. A big burden has been lifted, but the job is not done. The dead have not been returned as promised. Phase 2 begins right now." Israel threatened to sanction Gaza and to halt all aid going in until all of the deceased hostages were returned. Hamas immediately got a move on it, and 4 more bodies were transferred to Israel last night. 3 of the 4 were identified as Israeli hostages, while they suspect but have not confirmed yet that the 4th was actually not an Israeli. Meanwhile, Hamas is literally mass executing their own people in the streets, claiming that they are Israel collaborators. We won't show the videos here on the show because they are very graphic and we don't want to get banned on YouTube, but you can tell what's going on just by this audio. My question is, where are all the people who claim that they care about unarmed civilians? Where's the outcry from the likes of Greta Thunberg and company who have been screaming about genocide for the last 2 years? If they truly cared about the Palestinian people, they would be calling for the disarmament of Hamas and not blaming literally everything on Israel for the last 2 years, and they would be calling out these horrific murders that are happening in the streets. Guys, let's continue to pray for Israel and the world in general right now. There's so much going on. There is much rejoicing in Israel right now. Thank God for all of the hostages being released, and they're now home and reunited with their families. If the videos of them reuniting with their loved ones doesn't make you cry, I don't know what will. But let's continue to pray for the security and safety of the nation of Israel. Hundreds of terrorists were literally just let out of Israeli prisons into Judea and Samaria and the Gaza Strip. And honestly, I don't see a clear forward path of completely stopping another October 7th from happening. And real quick, for all you people on X who are calling this a hostage swap, stop it. These are innocent Israeli people being released in exchange for actual terrorists who have blown up children at bus stops. That is not the same thing. Guys, before I go, if you would like to play a part in helping us here at the Israel Guys continue to bring you accurate information about what's happening in Israel and the Middle East, then please consider joining our team and producing these videos by supporting us monthly. If you're able to do this, we have a special access Telegram group with behind-the-scenes content, updates on our volunteer work in Israel, special store discounts, prayer requests, and more, specifically for our monthly donor team. If you want to join us, you can go to theisraelguys.com/donate or click the link in the description below. That's it for today, guys. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one.